Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Untitled Podcast. This is the 4th episode. We just got done watching Genshin Impact 3.2 Livestream, yes. And most likely we're going to start off with that idea, but say hello, everybody.
Hi.
Same
I'm coming
folks.
at you from a different
What's
corner
up? What's
of my room.
up?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
So, first of all, nahi.
Okay.
She's here.
Is that actually a name that you made up?
This is your patch, Island. So
For real?
Yeah.
we just got done watching the 3.2 live stream for Genshin Impact, the dev one.
That's what I
where
just
Niki's
said.
Kick got revealed.
Yeah.
Oh wait, really? I was drinking my coffee. I completely blanked on
Okay.
that even. It was really good.
I gotta say right off the bat, I'm gonna be 100% honest. The live stream, if I were to give it a score out of 10, I'll give it a 7.5, maybe 8. A lot of that
That's
is
fair.
because there was a lot of stuff that were cool, like characters, obviously. Kusanali and Layla, I think they're very interesting characters. But the events were actually looked pretty fun. However,
Agreed.
if we were talking about 3.2 as opposed to 3.1 and 3.0, it was a little obviously less content. I would think everybody would agree, right?
True.
But all in all, I'll give it like a 7.5, 8. What do you guys think?
I would give it like a 6, not gonna lie.
Okay.
I'd give it a 7.5. The only reason I'm not giving it a 6. So the reason why it's not like an 8 or a 9 is because in terms of like quantity of content, 3.0 and 3.1 had way more. We had a region, we had 2 Archon quests per one, a world quest, all that stuff. Whereas this one, it's just 1 Archon quest, no new region. And you know, it looks great, but just quantity wise, it's not there. Quality wise, the only reason it even is a 7.5 and not like a 6. Bro, the Scaramouche boss fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
god. I saw the hoyoverse Neon Evangelion just fanboy screaming in the dev boardroom. Like, dude, that fight looks epic. I can't wait.
Honestly, though, I would give it a 6.5. But only reason why I give it a 7.5 is because Kusanagi.
Yeah, I knew you were biased.
Of
Her
course.
gameplay looks really good though. Like, actually insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Did you
it's
see?
nuts.
She's doing the March 7th.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
I was like, that's so cool.
Domain expansion, Reality Marble is huge. Her ultimate.
Yeah.
The way she just went, like everything just turns into like a palace. It's like insane.
It was
I think
pretty
it's
sick. I didn't
huge.
think I didn't like, holy crap, it's so huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it stays there for like quite some time too.
Even after you change your character, it stays, which I thought
Yeah.
was insane.
That's wild.
And like it applies Dendro the whole time,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
And
That's like
it gives
broken.
buffs depending on like what elements you're getting a Dendro reaction with, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Pyro,
So it's like the
Hydro,
palace
Electro.
is like your own playground, basically.
That's so sick. That's really dope.
Oh my goodness.
And then I did notice that she does this, like, she has, I don't know if it was like idle animations or something similar. She has like, or when she attacks, it's like most of
the
her
jumpy.
animation, it's all related to like children's game, like street
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
And like the
Yeah.
rubber band.
Really?
She had like, I didn't know what they were called, but my stream told me that, you know, the rubber band thing that we would often do when you were younger. Like,
Oh,
The
okay.
string thing.
it's like,
right.
it's called Cat's Cradle or something like that. And then her jumping around as she's like, I think it was when she was attacking. It's very reminiscent to like hopscotching.
Yeah.
And then there was
Yeah.
one more, there was a couple more. I can't really think of it top of my head, but you know, there's one
I
animation
Spy
that I
with like
saw.
the little passive thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And then she's riding on the swings. So it's like
Mhm.
very childlike, which is makes sense. I thought, but I thought the details are pretty cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, the kid
Yeah.
looks fantastic. I'm excited for her as a character because Sumeru has released a few characters that feel I don't know if the word is restrictive, but like you have to specialize your team comps in a certain way. So like Sino gets released and he's encouraged, not locked into, but encouraged to do like aggravate spread combo, which is with Electro and Dendro. And then Nilo gets released and she is You can run her in other teams, but it's like suboptimal, right? And she's kind of stuck with just Dendro and Hydra. But with Nahida, she kind of like opens up a lot of the fun gameplay variety aspect that some of these teams don't have.
Yeah.
Just from like a geeky meta standpoint. So I'm excited. I can't wait.
I think a lot of that, it was already tested. They've been testing this way back since Yelan, I think. With like, because the way she works, I don't know if any of you are familiar, she gets more HP depending on how many different element characters are in your party.
Yep.
And her damage and her kit revolves around having a lot of HP. So like when I first saw, and even before that, there were like couple weapons, I think, that was related to having different members from different regions. I think there's a character or a weapon that's something similar, like if you have 3 characters from Liyue, you do more damage. There was something like that, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole weapon set. It's the leeway. Yeah.
And so clearly they've been testing this for a while. And it's funny to me that it's like kind of an iteration of that. And, you know, it's really cool. But in terms of the characters, Nahida and Layla, character design, Feng, please pitch in.
I went crazy. It's just so good.
For
oh my
both,
god.
I guess?
Yeah. Okay, well the thing is, personally, I wished Nahida had a little more just like complexity to her when it comes to like design wise. However, I really think this is like good enough just because it's like she's a child. And there's not much you can carry around, let's be honest. Like, Ningguang can go all full out, decked out, everything, because she's the bling queen, and, like, she can do whatever she wants. But, like, Nahida's just bouncing around. Realistically, it doesn't work like that. However, I do... personally, I think Nahida's, like, skill and, like, the way she does her skill and her burst is more attractive to me than her actual, like, character design, personally. Layla, on the other hand, is like a balance. Like, I freaking love Cryo Girls, but I feel like Layla is very much like, she has like a darker tone to her compared to, I don't know, like a lighter Eula type of Gunyu sort of color scheme. And I'm kind of like that. They're kind of like dipping into different things and like making characters not look like the vision that they are associated with. So I like that. And I'm really fascinated by how much she's related to stars, because it kind of reminds me of Mona and Daneslave, and that's interesting.
I know why.
Yeah.
I know why, and I don't know anything about her story, because obviously, you know, I didn't read into any of the, like, I don't know if there's, I don't know even know if there's leaks about it, but I know that it becomes very clear to me. She's related to elves. That's obvious because of her years.
Yeah, 100%.
From my research, without going into deep details.
You sound so proud.
I am. I spent weeks. Elves are all connected to, what's the easiest way to put this? Let's say the stars and the constellations is similar to Mona. Obviously, Mona's not an elf, but if you look at like how Mona's master is connected to Alice, and how Alice is an elf, and a lot of that has to do with the stars and the moon, if that makes sense. Because Layla's kit, it's very obvious to me that that orb and the stars around it that she like showed in the trailer, it's the reflection of the moon and the stars and the constellations. And the whole idea of elves and the dream space, similar to Kusanale, is also apparent. And the whole idea of Irminsul and the dream space itself. So it's like, it seems to me all the elf characters are very deeply rooted in the story of the space and dream concept in the game. And then the moons and the stars and those kind of things. So so I looked at that and I was like, yo, like, how much are they trying to hint right now? I don't even know how many.
Man.
They do this all the time, though, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But that was cool. That was cool. And I don't know. We talked about this before as a joke, but kind of serious. Al Hytham and how Al Hytham could be an elf. or something along the lines of
because of his Akasha Pro Maxes.
Yeah, because I didn't realize until you told me that, but his earpiece has a triquetra symbol on both, and it completely covers his ears. And
I got 3 theories with Al Haytham. Can I say it?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, okay. He's either an elf, actually 4. He's either an elf, or he could be Sumeru's like experiment with like. Do you know how like Conrad got really obsessed with trying to create a beings that can rival like Celestia to be able to be a nation without a god, right? And one of those creations through gold was Albedo, right? If you look at Albedo's character design and specifically the gem in his, or not the gem, but the sigil in his chest, it's a very similar design aesthetic choice that you would see with Al Haytham. They're both extremely logic driven over like everything else. And we don't know much about Al Haytham's like history, at least personally. So if he's not an elf, he could be like an artificial homunculus potentially, or he's a human or like a reincarnation of a god potentially, or this would be sick. He's just a normal dude. A super Chad normal dude though, like being able to do all the stuff that he does. That'd be pretty. I'm not expecting that, but that would be pretty sick.
What if it's all 4?
How could it be all 4 if he's just a normal dude? What do you mean?
Why couldn't it be all 4?
Because how is he supposed to be like an Albedo homunculus without?
You mean
what
like?
Does that mean?
You mean like a descendant / mix of like a super mixed bloodline, perhaps?
Well, I don't know. I'm not too sure, but it's a very strange thing if you think about Albedo, because Albedo is undoubtedly originate from gold. And Gold is very close friends with Alice. And Alice is an elf. So maybe it's like Al Haytham is an elf, and he is not actually human, but half human. That is a homunculus. But
he's also just some guy.
Yeah. I don't know. He has white hair.
Or he's just some guy that modified himself.
I do want to say, in the trailer, going back to the trailer though, and the live stream in general, you know what we know this by now, right? Every dialogue spoken in the trailer is like super debate, and like it has nothing to do with what you see on the screen. It's more like to build hype.
Yeah.
But there was a thing that Al Haytham said. He said a couple lines, and one of them was towards the Grand Sage, I believe. Or something along those lines. And it made me feel like Al Haytham might just be doing his own thing with no affiliation to anybody. He's just figuring out what he needs to know to ultimately correct the path that the wrongdoings of the sages are doing. Right? And then just like almost of the opposing force. He's like, kind of reminds me of Dainsleif, if that makes sense. He's like his own thing, but he has a very good reason in his own opinion. And
he's like the check and balance to Sumeru's like obsession with knowledge, so to speak. I could see that.
Oh.
I can see that.
I mean,
what the fuck?
I just finished Art Conquest yesterday, so yeah, this is like.
Oh my god! Wait, Act 4?
I think so.
With so you did the desert with Sino and.
It ended with him sitting down reading a book. Yes. The desert.
The desert, right? Okay.
Oh, it's been so long.
Can we talk about Daya? Damn, Queen!
Yeah! This is why I rated this patch 6 out of 10. Because they teased her so much. And they were like, nope, you can have Yaimiko though, and Child, I guess. But no Daya.
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide.
I agree. Dude, Daya, absolute respect in the recent Art Conquest. Like, oh my god. What a well-written character, honestly.
Her arm?
Dude.
When she put out her arm?
So, by the way, the entire time that was happening, where she was like, I bet my arm, I was like, no shot. Wait, is she gonna? Nah, it's all a ploy to get their guard down, and then she's gonna attack them. And then they go to swing,
and she's still standing there with her arm out.
I was like, oh my gosh, she's about it, dude. Like, I was geeking out. Shout out to ramen. Or go ahead.
How do I explain this? That kind of plot is very it happens a lot in the storytelling world. Right? So I was kind of sitting there like, there's no way, right? There's no way she's actually.
That's what I was saying.
But the only thing that kept me kind of like scared was, this is hoyoverse. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Facts.
So like part of me is just like, this is everything will be fine. But then there was like a hint of a question mark in the back of my head. I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna be fine.
Yes.
So that was pretty crazy. I did like that part of the story a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like,
I there's not much of Dea in the live stream, sadly.
I know,
which is why it's a 6 out of 10. Sorry. Anyways, but yeah, I thought, because it's hoyoverse, I didn't know what to expect. But then I was like, like they also saved Xiao in the end at the quest, so like he didn't die, so it's fine. But then I looked at her arm and I'm like, I don't know, the part of the arm that she showed, it literally looks like a different part of her. So I was like, it may or may not be cut. And then, I just sat there.
Spoiler alert, that happened.
This is foul. This is so foul. But yeah, I feel like, it's funny how at the start of the quest, literally nobody got along with each other except for like Candace and Dea.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they all kind of like got together. And I'm like, we have a squad? They're kind of awkward, but we got a squad.
You had Sino and Al-Haytham snitching Dea out to Candace. Because the day before, both Al-Haytham and Sino were like, hey, don't ever do that again. Don't ever like bite your arm. And Al-Haytham's like, I'll step in next time. And then the next day, all of a sudden, Candace knows. And she's like, hey, Dea.
Don't you ever do that again.
Sino was in the back and he was like look, looking like, did she get the message?
Yeah, honestly.
I wonder.
I'm so excited
where it's gonna go, because if I remember correctly, the way that Act 4 ended was basically them kind of explaining what's going on in Sumeru and the sages and Scaramouche. Like Scaramouche's biggest goal is to become this godly thing that will triumph everything that pre-existed. Right?
That just reminded me of something. In the live stream today, didn't he literally say, I am already a god?
Yes.
Yeah, I was talking about that. Yep.
What the heck is going on with that?
Because I thought when they showcased him initially, I was like, oh, the whole plot point is going to be we need to stop him before he becomes a god. And then he said...
And he's like, you're already too late.
I was like, oh, we're screwed. Like, now we just got to see like if we can defeat a fully formed god.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was arrogant speaking. I'm pretty confident like he actually like ascended.
Unless that dialogue is Jabate. Because it happens all the time and it makes me irritated. But either case, that I feel like this Archon quest, the part 5, is gonna be super long. I'm kind of scared, but also excited. Because so far it's been very long. And I don't know how within a short amount of time go from like where we left off at Act 4 and then resolving the entire issue of Sumeru. It sounds like there's so much in there, right?
They did say, even though this is the end of the Sumeru Archon quest, there is still more to learn and explore of Sumeru in future patches. So I bet you we're going to get like new regions, kind of like Enkonomiya or whatever, that's supposed to expand on the lore of Sumeru.
Yeah.
And like this is what, 3.3? We're just getting started.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna keep going with this.
How did the previous region, or Inazuma, I guess is the only one, how did it go? As in like the pacing of Archon Quest releasing? Because there's like we went all the way up to 2.8, right?
Right.
So
for Inazuma, it was 2 for the first 2.0, right? But then every patch after that, we either got a Archon Quest singular or none. And we like waited.
Yeah, there were some where it also happened in other regions. Like so
like
Lantern Rite and all that.
Yeah.
I guess and there were a couple of things like for Archon Quest in there.
Yeah.
Was Enkonomiya voiced? I don't remember actually. I don't remember what that story was. It was?
Yes.
Okay, so we might get like another region that's like hidden or I don't know, Secret of Sumeru.
Ooh, what do you think that would be?
I don't know, but I am a little sus. I'm not gonna say that, but there's a lot of Conran connection in Sumeru, so I bet you we might get like hard. Look, the art that they had for 3.2 at the end of the trailer, the right side,
God.
dude, the right side of Nahida when she's sitting in the birdcage is the fall of Conran.
Magma, oh my.
So
that was actually insane.
I feel like they're gonna expand on that. Maybe not this patch. I feel like that's bait, but probably 3.3, 3.4.
What about
when Daya gets released?
What about our conquest where they go down, after this patch, they go down memory lane and visit what occurred 500 years ago, or even Archon War itself 2,000 years ago.
It'd be sick.
Well, here's the thing. A little birdie told me, I actually don't know if this is leak or not, but a little birdie told me that there's going to be information on this, but not from the game. So.
Manga? Ooh. Or anime?
Or the anime.
That would be hype.
Yeah. I think visually it makes more sense for the anime. Action-packed, fighting styles, all of that, world building. I think it probably would be fleshed out better in the anime style. If
I were to guess, and obviously we know the anime is happening sooner or later, if they've been planning this anime, it has to relate to the story in a meaningful way, rather than it being something like kind of random, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I also had the idea of this because, in the trailer of the anime, we don't see much, but we saw the two twins together. That already says way more than, we know. Yeah. And so far, I don't think Genshin has endgame yet. So what can be, like, what else is there? Probably the prologue. So
yeah, I do remember because of that, I did like a whole live stream about this. Apparently, as it turns out, in the very beginning, when the traveler, before they touch the Venti statue for the first time to get the animal powers, Lumine has, how the thing, her color changes, the little gem, depending on what element you have. Lumine had a white color.
Yep.
But Ether, I didn't know, had a black color. In the very beginning, when they wake up, I checked both versions of whoever you picked. One of them has a black color and one of them has a light color, even before they touched any statues.
That's actually so interesting.
And that's exactly what was depicted in the anime from when they were standing.
I feel like that kind of confirms it, does it not?
I'm not sure because it's there's a timeline issue where the separation between Ether and Lumine against the Sustainer. That's the issue.
Right.
But because if that were the case, that would mean that they lost their power, but they were together, which doesn't make sense because they lost the power as they were getting separated by the
Lumine or Aether and Lumine both mentioned that like the Traveler, not the Abyssal Twin, but the Traveler was knocked out while Lumine was exploring like most of Teyvat. We don't know how much together time they actually got, which is why the anime trailer is like super confusing, to be honest.
Yeah, because the only time they did meet together was for a very brief moment. If my logic tells me it's correct, it's after the Abyss sibling went through the tour, and then they went to wake up the other sibling, and for a brief moment they were together before, and then they were trying to leave. Unless it's backwards, I don't know how that went, but the most logical to me is after Lumine went on a tour, woke up Aether, and they were together for like maybe, I don't know, if I were to give it like a short time, and then they got separated. So technically speaking, they should have had their powers then when they met, aka the anime, but it seems like they didn't have the powers in the anime, which is weird. It's very weird. Obviously, all this could just be like, imagery and it has nothing to do with it, sure, but this is probably, I would like to think, hoyoverse do focus on a lot, that there is a consistency in terms of story, but they messed up in the past before too, so like...
Yes, they have.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
It's UFO Table, and with them, they like to they like to animate shows that have high action, like nine times out of 10, whether it's a movie, with Fate or Demon Slayer, it's always heavy combat focus for the most part. Sometimes with like a core narrative, like you'll see with some Fate movies and some series like Demon Slayer. So I'm expecting, just based off of that, it's got to be like a healthy mix of combat and exploration. Current Genshin Impact is mostly exploration with some combat, like big moments here and there. So maybe we should be getting Archon War / previous, before the Genshin Impact game. I feel like that makes the most sense with bringing on UFO. I don't see UFO agreeing to a series that isn't action focused in some way or form, where they can't flex their unlimited budget works or whatever.
Here's what's weird. The anime had Paimon in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that is because Paimon doesn't get found until post.
Yeah.
But
unless that moment with Paimon in the anime trailer, assuming
it's just for bait.
Maybe, but like, what if
she
it's
is
just
the mascot?
What if it's more simple? Like, they're telling the story right now, whoever the traveler is, and they are with Paimon, but they're recalling the story of what happened previously, and then it kind of like, go back in time, and then it explains. I don't know.
That's definitely possible. I know for a fact they will definitely include Paimon because, like, you cannot do a Genshin anime without the presence of Paimon.
Right.
But
it'll be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it in terms of the story. But
I just hope we can stream it. But
going back to the live stream, let's see. If I recall, going away from lore a little bit, there were few events I think that were pretty new.
Yeah.
Anybody remember exactly what some of the bigger ones were? Because I kind of
we got the Mario Party co-op event. I'm excited for that. It's gonna be pretty dope, like for community games or whatever.
Is that the one where like the two razors were breaking the block or whatever?
Yeah, and then you had to like dodge like the pinballs, right? And then
wasn't there an event before that one?
There was the Pokemon trainer one where you catch you catch fungi and you train them so that they can battle with you.
That one I'm excited for.
Did you notice Saito's dad jokes?
Yes.
Fun guy.
Alejandro is he's just gold. He's amazing.
Dude. But that fun. Okay, first, here's my take on these banners. The reason why I bring this up out of nowhere is because the fun guy that they were hinting at probably was Child, in my opinion, because Child's banner is coming back.
Right.
Because a lot of the cases, when somebody's banner drops or a rerun, they show up in the story or the events, one way or another. And that's been the case for a lot of times. But what do you think about Child coming back?
I'm biased. I like Child. I mean, look, Miko and Child is the same phase. So I am debating on either going for a constellation or just skipping. I'm cool with it because I can save
for Child.
For Daya. Skipping Child and Miko. So I can save for Daya and Alhaitham.
Oh, you're skipping the whole second half.
Yeah, the whole second half. Because I already have Child, and he's so good, like at C0, C1. He doesn't need. I mean, honestly, any character in this game, you don't need constellations currently at the moment. Right, Envy's proven this multiple times by getting 36 stars in Spiral Abyss with the free-to-play characters. So, yeah, I think I'm going to skip that. I'm thankful for it because I can save. And I feel like for people that want Miko or Child, awesome, y'all get a rerun. And then if you don't, which a lot of people don't, because Miko was in Inazuma, so kind of recent. And then Child is, the dude gets rerun like no tomorrow. So y'all will be able to save for like other Sumeru characters, which is a good thing. I'm happy because I get to save for Daya and Alhaitham. But I'm biased. I want Daya and Alhaitham. So,
Feng, who are you saving for?
Daya.
Yeah.
Yo, I know this sounds very, very unpopular.
Uh-huh.
What if she's a 4-star?
Don't care. Going all in.
Yeah, are you kidding me? That's even better.
Yeah. I like her character too much for me not to pull for her.
Same.
Because 4 stars are scary.
They are scary. They're terrifying. Dude, I've gotten 4 C6 characters.
Stop flexing.
4 C6 5-star characters before a C3 Toma. And it breaks my heart.
That's actually
like,
insane.
That is ridiculous, dude. To give you guys an idea, like 4 stars, going for a 4-star is a scam. Save your currency.
Yeah. So both of you are pretty much saving for the majority of it. I guess you are gonna get Nahida at least one.
I will.
100%. I might go to C2. Maybe we'll see.
Okay.
I will maybe try for C1 or C2 Yaimiko, simply because I feel like she's low-key half of my brand at this rate, and also because I want Layla. So, yeah, I need her.
You already have her, don't you?
Wait, is Layla not on Nahida's banner?
Layla is on Yai and
it's
Child's
No.
banner.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
That.
They know how to profit. So, yeah.
We're missing one of the big banners that nobody ever talks about.
Damn, I'll hate them.
Yoimiya is getting shafted again.
Oh my god, I know! Just a poor girl.
I saw Yoimiya and Nahida at the same time. I was like, bro, Island is crying on the inside.
Honestly, though.
Dude, I will say, though, yeah, she does. I do have her at C2, surprisingly.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Because I think if I recall way back when she first released, this was the first time she released.
Right.
I was making bad financial decisions. And I was like, dude, I like this. It means I got baited. That's what it means. I got baited. And I'm like, I want this character. I want to get more constellation. So I did. But it was because one of her constellation gives her like more attack little 3 things that fly.
Oh, okay.
Like more, I don't know exactly what it was, but
yeah, when Yoimiya charge shots, she has like 3 homing missiles that tag along to the charge shot. So you're saying the constellation adds.
It's when you activate her E.
Yeah. So that's a skill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like she does like extra. I don't know exactly what it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, or not chat viewers, but
streamer.
Streamer tendencies.
Yeah.
So I have her at least like, good point.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of people still want Yoimiya. Even though she's not very popular, there's a lot of people who do want her. It's just hoyoverse. It's like, I know you guys want the Archon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost feels like because she's not very popular, Yoimiya's not very popular, they're funneling the attention this entire patch just to Nahida. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't mind it. It gives me more time to like save afterwards.
Right.
But I thought it was pretty funny. I'm like, yo, they're doing Yoimiya bad again.
Right.
This happened like last time.
So Archons are like the big moneymakers for Genshin, right?
Yeah.
Sumeru has been fantastic. The community has widely regarded that this is, in a lot of the community's eyes, the first quote unquote, the first time Genshin Impact has ever had somewhat good content. Based off of that, do you think Nahida will surpass the legendary Raiden Shogun in banner sales?
No.
Interesting. I agree. Raiden's too hot.
Yeah, there's definitely a thing.
I mean, lots of story connection, but yeah.
The thing is, personally, from judging the way how she looks, Nahida, she looks better than the Shogun in terms of kit and like potentially like 100%. DPS.
Yeah.
But there's an attractiveness factor. She's very adorable, but Raiden Shogun's like, do you know what I mean?
Smoking. I know. Yeah.
It all depends on the trailer, the demo trailer.
True. Bro, because Raiden has one of the best demo trailers. I'm not just saying that because I like Raiden. Genuinely, the soundtrack alone is one of the best crafted demos I've seen to this day. 100%.
I made a tier list a while back, and it was at the finals. It was Raiden Shogun's trailer and Kokomi's trailer, and we were just talking about which one had the best trailer in the game.
Right.
And funnily, Kokomi ended up winning. Because
That's surprising.
Because I was biased towards recency and music. Even though Raiden Shogun's music is pretty dope,
Same.
Kokomi's music is actually really good.
It's
in her
beautiful.
demo.
Yeah.
But again, Raiden Shogun's demo, holy shit. I watch it
Dude.
every now and then. I'm just like, this is probably their best made like action. Because Raiden Shogun's trailer, it will be very different from Nahida's because her trailer was more about badassery, if that's a word.
Yeah.
Right? And Nahida's is gonna be more like kawaii desu, right? Cuteness. So I don't know which way the community will lean more towards. I would have to say it's the badassery, right?
Kawaii desu, yes.
So in a sense, I don't think Raiden Shogun is gonna get topped until the Pyro Archon. If I'm gonna be dead honest.
Dude, if the Pyro Archon is in any shape, way, or form similar to or a Murata, C6 guaranteed.
Oof.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you see a world where Raiden Shogun gets topped until Murata? I don't see it.
Honestly,
No matter how cool a character is, like Al Haitham or like Dea, Raiden Shogun's just release was just perfect timing with additional of like how cool the character was.
In terms of like hype marketing, Raiden is one of the most geniusly crafted like hype marketed characters ever, if that makes sense. For Genshin. Like story wise, constantly talking about like the Vision Hunt Decree, even like Zhongli back in Leeway. When there were leaks on Raiden before we even got to Inazuma, which like further generated the hype. And then there's the fact that she looks like Raiden Mei from Honkai.
Yeah.
So even if you were a Honkai player that didn't like Genshin, right there, you were like, oh, but I really like the fact that she kind of looks like one of my favorite characters. So now you had people getting into Genshin just for that one fact, right? Yeah, in terms of and her demo, dude.
I'm telling you, the only person that can top her, Himeko.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just look at Star Rail Himiko, right? She's one of the most like hyped up, beloved characters.
Mommy.
Dude, oh yeah, I agree.
The Himeko in Honkai is badass. The Himeko in Star Rail is so graceful.
So elegant.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah.
An actual
But
queen.
Himeko in general
likes coffee. Go ahead.
Himeko in general always has good story.
Yeah. I agree.
So Murata and Genshin.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
When I say good story, sad story. That's how hoyoverse works.
Hey, Genshin got dark it's been getting progressively darker, right? But I think we've crossed that line with the last Archon quest. Y'all saw
They killed a Catherine.
Well, I mean, no, not just that, but like Dottore confirmed it was already implied, but they went into detail about he recycles human corpses for research and studying and bro, like,
in one of those things in the pages.
That was dark.
Here's what it is: the darkness of Genshin is not it's not very apparent on the surface.
Yeah, no, 100%.
The darkness of the game, like, really is deep if you understand what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the end of the day, it's still like a casual game on its outer appearance.
Yeah,
but yeah, if you deep dive into like what had happened, it's kind of creepy.
It's really disturbing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they have a lot of really weird effed up things that are just like sprinkled throughout the world, and you don't really see it until you like actually explore the world or talk to NPCs about it.
Yep.
So it's like it's there, it's just most people don't know about it because they don't interact.
It all started in, I believe, Enkanomiya, when they started, the whole lore behind during the Danes of Dark Conquest, the whole lore behind the Glihttr, and they used to be human and they were dying.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yep.
that started hitting pretty bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You see, I feel like they were dark even before that. Are we going to talk about Dawn Winery and their sus maids? And
why are they sus?
Do you not know about that? Like the head maid that works at Dawn Winery apparently keeps humans like in their basement, and then apparently some of the steak may or may not be from human flesh. And if you talk
where are you
to them,
getting this from?
Literally the NPCs, if you speak to them, like she gets creepy. She starts laughing to herself when you talk to her. You gotta do this. Like,
wow, I feel like I'm biased because I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I ran out of content when, like we were Stone Monsta and Liga.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I was
100%.
walking around talking to every single NPC and getting all the freebies that they could give me. So this was insane.
Huh.
But yeah.
That's, I'm going to look into that. That's kind of disturbing if that's, what?
It's
crazy.
been scary ever since like the first patch ever. There were like kids in Liga who were literally crying to each other because their parents are dead. Like it's insane.
Oh man, yeah, I know what you're talking about there. That was pretty.
Yeah.
And then there was that one village that was pretty much a ghost village in Liga.
Right.
Yep.
And then like there was this one kid that just lived there by themselves, and then they didn't know where their parents were. Like what? They had this. They knew what they were doing all along. It's just like they're actually like putting it into quests now and like putting that in your face.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What was pretty dark about this live stream was the fact that, is it just me or the Torre? I mentioned this in my stream. Why does it feel like the Torre, even though he technically seems to be working together with Scaramouche, it was more like, it felt to me that it was more like, hey, this is the Tory speaking. Hey, Scaramouche, you want to do this thing, become a god? Sure, I'll give you a way to do that, but I really don't give a shit. After I'm done,
I said the same thing.
Yeah, after I'm done with what I need to do here, I'm leaving.
Juice. He made it sound like, oh, cool, so he's gone now. Awesome, I'll let him like wreck stuff up. All right, bye, adios.
Right.
Right? That's like the vibe that I got from the trailer.
It felt like a hobby that he had on the side.
Which is disturbing. Oh, I'll just make a god and like, recycle corpses and all that stuff. But like,
right.
Does it not make you feel that Fatui has now completely disassociated themselves with Scaramouche? As in, yeah, he ran away or he went rogue, but like they completely cut him out and they're just leading him to his downfall. Because ultimately the Traveler will come and like fix the problem. But like they completely separated, the Harbingers completely separated themselves with Scaramouche, and he's kind of left by himself now in Inazuma to do, or not Inazuma, in Sumeru to do whatever that's going to happen with this godly Gundam looking thing.
Interesting.
But if the Tory just leaves, I think what's happening is the Tory came to figure out, like, get more intel about the world and also the Gnosis. And after he's accomplished those things, he just leaves and like, I don't care about Scaramouche. I'm leaving. And then he's just gonna like meet his end one way or another, Scaramouche.
Yeah.
I feel kind of bad. Oh, this gets pretty dark again if you think about it. Scaramouche's lore is complete.
Dude, his don't get me wrong. I'm actually looking forward and hoping that I might get canceled for saying this because I know Scaramouche has a very dedicated following. But but I'm looking forward to Scaramouche getting smacked around by the Traveler, and I hope he smacks him around pretty good. Because he's done some messed up stuff, a lot of messed up stuff.
Yeah.
But he wasn't always bad. It's actually heavily implied in his cutscene that even though he was bitter about the fact he was abandoned, he tried to be good multiple times, but then like effed up stuff kept happening.
Yeah.
And at one point he was like, I don't like this world.
Right.
I'm done with it. Let me remake it and like blow everything up. That's the vibe I got. So
bro, when like, this is a great story if and when Scaramouche becomes playable. Does that make sense? He's clearly got an abandonment issue.
I mean, definitely. We know that.
100%.
Trauma, PTSD,
so
all of
far,
that.
I mean, let's be real. Like, it comes from somewhere. Sorry, go ahead.
So far, all his story was him being alone and being abandoned constantly. And it happened, the cutscene implied it happened to him 3 times, right? If the tutorial leaves and the Harbingers completely cut him out, it happens again.
Well, I personally don't exactly agree with that. I feel like the Fatui members they kind of are not exactly tied together to one another.
Yeah.
I feel like they're all just there for the Tsaritsa.
True.
They have such dedicated, they have loyalty towards the Tsaritsa, but then they're all just I'm here because I like this person, I look up to this one person, you all just happen to be the same. And we just have to be co-workers or something like that.
Co-workers, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because even when they were mourning Signora, it didn't feel like they were mourning her. It was definitely there. There was some sort of feeling. Maybe some of them like her more than others, but it just ultimately it felt like a ceremony that they had to do.
I think even Piero comes out and he even says let's cut the theatrics. Nobody is around. And we stop with the act and then continues on with the next mission, right?
I completely agree. But for a second, I want you to think about this in Scaramouche's perspective. Because whether he liked other Fatuis or not, he was still part of that group for something better. Maybe even selfish way where he wanted something for himself.
Right.
But just on a general context, not whether Fatuis cared or the Harbingers cared about each other or not. Scaramouche is getting abandoned essentially. If Dottore actually leaves him to his own device and screw you, which is highly possible in my opinion because Harbingers don't really care about each other. And I'm sure Scaramouche knows that too. But in the context of belonging, Scaramouche doesn't belong anywhere, sadly, and it's been a repeating thing.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically Scaramouche does become playable, then people who like him as a character, they're gonna be really down bad with this sad story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think if that's the case, hoyoverse doing a phenomenal job crafting Scaramouche's story to the point where it's just sad. Even though he's doing bad things and maybe something bad will happen later, but it's just very sad, which makes people. There's it's called. You know how in the story there's a protagonist and then antagonist?
Yeah.
But Scaramouche is more like an anti-hero, if that makes sense.
Yeah, technically speaking, if you look at his goal, at the end of the day, he just wants to tear down the current system and then rebuild it into something new.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know what anti-hero means, it's not a villain, but it's someone that resembles a villain that you can relate to because there's a backstory about them that makes them pretty sad or more humane to relate to you, abandonment issues, those kind of things, right?
He had his own villain origin story. Yeah.
But
I feel honestly, wasn't it implied that A actually let him go in the beginning because he was too kind to rule or something?
Yeah, he was too emotional and she didn't want to have him do what they all do, the gods do.
What Raiden Shogun does, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is also interesting.
By the way, I was watching that cutscene. I don't know if this is true. Feel free to correct me in the comments. But someone was saying apparently there's lore that when one of the people that Scaramouche cared for was dying, Scaramouche asked Yae Miko or the priestesses in general for help.
No, wait. Where was this?
I don't remember this.
Apparently, this is lore in, I don't know if it's artifacts or an item.
Oh my God.
But apparently he had actually reached out for help and he never got it.
That's probably why it was condensed to the point where when the child ended up dying, Scaramouche was so livid and pissed. I guess.
Oh, I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if that's true. Someone was just explaining it. And I asked chat, and everybody in my chat, this was like 1,000 people. They were all like, yeah, this is accurate. This is accurate. I was like, oh,
that's
okay.
Insane.
That's wild. And apparently that's the reason why he even was willing to deal with Yae Miko, is because Yae Miko has like a little bit of a personal history with Scaramouche, and not a good one. It was more like, here's the gnosis, leave type of deal. Yeah.
Right. It was very strange where when they met, it wasn't even like a question of who are you. It was more like they knew each other already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would assume they already knew each other even before, because, you know, he is one of A's creations. But
from Inazuma, probably. Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking thoughts.
I think, in a weird way, I see why that so many people are connected to Scaramouche. I originally thought it was just because of his design and he looked cool and like he looked badass. But then the more the story of him surfaces, it's like not really relatable directly, but it's just like a tragic story that everybody feels bad for in a way, even though he does some crazy shit.
Yeah. Oh. Like, he had all the, I guess, in a way, all the reasons to go berserk the way he did.
He is kind of crazy, though. His interpretation is kind of skewed.
Definitely.
Oh, 100%. He's bitter and cold, you know?
Yeah. If you take like a child and then like remove them from society where they know how to actually function as a human being, and then you put them through repeated trauma and PTSD just like that, I would go berserk too. The heck?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is like, again, I want him to get smacked around, but also at the same time, I understand like how he got to be the way that he is.
Right.
Like, it makes sense. It's not like, whoa. Me.
Yeah, someone was saying, like, that the Traveler is gonna go fight Scaramouche, right? And be like, you have mommy issues. And then Scaramouche is gonna be like, yeah, but your twin abandoned you. So they're just gonna fight with issues.
Oh my god, it's like in like middle school fights, bro.
Literally. Dude. So yeah.
So more of the story is that means Raiden Shogun was a terrible mother.
Well, that's the thing. I think she... Well, I mean, we kind of knew, like, from the quest, like, she changed a lot or whatever afterwards. But she definitely was suffering from losing Makoto. And also, she was creating things without the intention of them actually picking up feelings or emotions. So, like, when they actually did, she's like, all right, what the heck is this? Goodbye.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Does that make Raiden Shogun Mobius, who created the Great Serpent, interesting?
I'm not going to go on that rabbit hole, but I will say there's a lot of story parallels between Raiden A and Raiden May and Dr. May, but that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. There definitely.
A lot of story parallels between the two.
Definitely.
Or the three, sorry.
Let's talk about Scaramouche's little godly form, shall we? The freaking Evangelion Gundam.
Bro,
why is the waist so small? Can I just say
the what? The waist?
Did you see his feet, by the way?
The thighs are so big and chunky and the waist is like
waist and the feet.
That way the Scaramouche fans can like grab him really well. That's why.
Exactly. Why is your waist so small for other men to grab? Like, what is this? Okay.
There was two parts. I guess there's two phases from the way I saw it. Like the upper body and then like the freaking transformation mutation coming together with the bottom portion. That's kind of, I will say it looks really cool. And I understand the reference to Evangelion. But kind of felt like so crazy over the top, which is not a bad thing, but did not expect it to happen this way.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of scared at this, right? Because we've seen like progressions of how dramatic these enemies are becoming, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember everybody freaking out when we had to fight Raiden Shogun, and then she turns into that giant monster. That was already gigantic. Like, people were freaking out over it. This is like, what, 3 times as big? And you're basically fighting Dvalin again at this rate. So, I think Genshin
we're barely in the third region, which is insane to think about. Like, what's going to happen at the end, you know?
So as you guys know, I've been doing a lot of theory crafting stuff, and one of the very interesting, without going into super detail, because it's going to be a very long conversation. One of the very interesting details that I realized was that a lot of people know this. They can kind of tell that when you combine all the elements, it becomes the element of light that the traveler utilizes, right?
Yes.
Basically,
What?
Yeah. So real quick, just to catch everyone up, if you split light up, like technically speaking, it would
through a prism.
all match. Yeah, through a prism, it would all fracture into
rainbow colors.
All the elements. Yeah.
And this was the same concept that was, in a backwards way, the Vision Hunter Creed, where all the ambitions of people, you know how at the end of the fight between Traveler and Raiden Shogun, it was that light particles that all came together into light itself. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because it was kind of weird in Scaramush's battle, he can use multiple elements.
Yes. And
one of the biggest things that stood out to me was Scaramouche saying he's already become a god, but what his main goal was to be something above gods themselves.
Right.
As in Archons, they all have individual elements for themselves. But because Scaramouche for some reason can use multiple elements, it's like, has he ascended beyond that point of Archons where a higher being resides when, in terms of the light, where it's related to the Traveler in a way, or you know, if you know lore, light realm that existed during the Primordial One's war against the Seven Dragons and stuff.
You know, I was actually thinking about this. Like, I think in the beginning when we like got to know all the elements, I was just like talking to my friends like, haha, what's Daneslave? Light, darkness, like the vision of darkness because it's Conria. And then now it's actually low-key making sense. What?
Yeah, and that was just gonna say this in the easiest way possible.
Okay.
Before Teyvat was created, there was light and darkness.
Yep.
Right.
And light, what we see of the seven element originates from that light portion.
Right.
But there is that dark portion.
Abyssal, the void realm.
Abyss void realm that's not connected to Teyvat, that's not connected to seven elements. And that's where, in my opinion, is linking to the power of darkness or void that's connected to Conria and the Abyss Order. So in that sense, Scaramouche kind of, it's interesting. He wanted to become a deity that's above all deities inside the scope of the Archons and the elements. Right. So I felt like he got to the point where he's on the level that's on light and darkness itself. And that's the only explanation that I have that why he's able to use multiple elements, because it doesn't make sense if he has, let's say hypothetically, Dendronosis on top of the Electronosis. Still, it doesn't make sense, right? Sure. So I was like, okay, maybe Scaramouche being this, you know, in the trailer they said I've already become a god. It's like, yo, maybe it's something even bigger than people anticipate, right? In terms of the story.
Right.
And maybe whatever's connected to his back is the.
What if it's Archon residue?
Connecting to the dark powers or the abyss powers, perhaps, or like the corruption powers. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? It's like there are two things that I'm just like, I don't know what hoyoverse is doing, but it feels like they skipped a few steps with Scaramouche already. Like with Child and Signora as Fa-Chui harbingers that we fight, there's like, you know, the first stage, and then there's a second stage. There's like the vision, and then there's the delusion. This one is just going straight up. Like, I don't even know what they're doing.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah, they're like throwing it out the window. It's like completely out. I feel like, honestly, it's interesting, but at the same time, it's like, what does it say for future enemies? Like, how are they going to top this in any way?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Would he be just a special case? I wonder. Because his goal is not really, I don't think Scaramouche gives a crap about the Saritsa or the Harbingers.
It's also a little weird how Dotoi doesn't care.
Yeah.
This is like one of the craziest looking fights ever. Craziest looking bosses ever. Scaramouche swears that he has already become a god, right? And Dotoi is like, okay, cool. My little science experiment's done. On to the next one. On to what actually matters, and just leaves. It's a little...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like...
I think maybe that's what it is. The Torre he's using Scaramouche to see if it's possible.
No, yeah, definitely.
Like
this is like his
prototype.
little hobby side experiment.
Yeah, and then throwing it to his own devices. Essentially throwing him away.
It's like,
That's what
I'm off to a
Jitori's
business
known for.
trip to Sumeru, just, casually. Gonna go do some experiments.
This is interesting. Anyways, for the story. That gets me very intrigued.
I'm just excited to see Jitori again, okay? But I didn't say that. Anyways.
He looks pretty chill. You know that scene where he was on the boat and just like standing there?
Yeah.
He didn't even move. I'm like, I've seen this model in the game before, but all right. He looks normal, but it's kind of scary as hell.
Yeah. He's a normal dude.
I mean, multiple clones or whatever. I don't know.
Story lore aside, how do y'all feel about the content in the game post 3.0? Not even just like 3.2, but like just in general. Like
it's too much.
There's too much.
It's too much.
Interesting.
I agree, actually.
I agree and disagree. I disagree in the sense that I would like more combat gameplay.
Yes.
Oh yes.
But
absolutely.
besides that, first two patches actually. But I also play other games. But a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yes.
The regions are huge, and like the double Archon quest is like oh my god. Like one world quest. One world quest took me like 2 days, 2-3 days.
The Aranara quest.
Yeah.
We don't even talk about it. Oh my god. I'm still not done. Like,
no, for real. It's crazy. And like, I'm down for it. But at the same time, I feel like they could have paced it out a little bit better. I feel like they went too hard on the initial.
Right.
The
they just
okay.
dropped all of it. And they were like, all right, go on. Yeah.
The pacing's fine. You're talking about pacing of patch releases.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's also because they shrunk it down from 6 weeks to 5 weeks. So technically we're down 2 weeks across these two patches.
Right.
There's got to be a reason why. There has to be. They could have extended it. I think it was more, there's enough to extend it. It's kind of strange to me. We're talking about like business side of things here. Hoyoverse had already planned a story out for Sumeru for a while. That's how game developer works. Development.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's just they condensed the patch weeks to one last week, and then they're putting it so much into each patch, each versions. So are they doing that to make room for more explanation later, or some other stuff that is,
I wonder if it's related to the anime / if we ever, I don't think we will, but if we ever get more manga. Like maybe they need to get out specific story before they can introduce like side products that they want to introduce or like a side content. Maybe there's something they want to do like an event or something that this must be out before we can do this.
Do you think they're under that kind of pressure?
From
the players' retention, so to speak.
You see, here's the thing. I feel like if I'm like using Inazuma as a point of reference, they kind of gave us a lot at the beginning. In the middle, it was like, a lot of people experienced burnout. A lot of people were like, what's going on? Like, there's a lot of world quests, but Archon quest-wise, there wasn't much. And then at the end, they kind of like picked it up again to build up for Sumeru. So I feel like I hope they don't do that with Sumeru. It does seem like, especially with this live stream that we saw today, like it seems like they're kind of like slowing down just a little bit content-wise. And I think everybody knows that, like, it seems like majority of people only play the Archon quest. Nobody really like plays every single world quest ever and finish it by like 3.2. So
100%.
That's why I'm
That's
like,
true.
I feel like a lot of the content that they're dropping on us is not very, very, very important until the point where they're like, they want everybody to get to know that before they drop other content. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense because to people like us, because content creators kind of have to be up to speed. Right. For casual players, that's not a problem.
Right.
They could just like take it their own pace. Because now I think about it, just the amount of like content that's available to 3.1, 3.2, and like now 3.0, 3.1, 3.2. There's actually too much. But that's only from the perspective of me as I need to stay up to date ASAP.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because doing Archon quests, World quests back to back to back to back, and then a patch house back to back to back to back.
I do want to say, potential hot take. A lot of people on like the gameplay combat side of content from that interview that kind of like blew up all over.
Oh
right?
yeah.
All I want to say from that is,
I agree.
I think there was a heavy misinterpretation of we're not going to get combat related endgame content. It's more so we're not going to get Spiral Abyss like content that will test your comp.
Yeah.
It's going to be more like a hypostasis event that we just got. Ku and Iki that we just got the last patch, right? Like it's going to be more like variety stuff than like end game super difficulty, type of content, if that makes sense. They want transformative content with like the abilities, the passives, the skills. And I think that's what we're going to get, to be honest, for future endgame content. When Natlan, God of War, would make sense. It's my take.
My biggest curiosity is technically in 3 years' time, we will be exposed to every region.
Yeah.
So what's the story after that? Because I don't know.
I know there's definitely going to be more than just 7 regions.
The second chapter. After, again, this is the
like
Teyvat chapter.
Yeah.
Right. Honkai is, by the way, people misunderstood me in that video that I released. This is the end. I had to explain this like 8 times over and I still have to. This is the end of the Honkai main story that we've grown to love. This current storyline that we've been getting since chapter 1. This is not the end of Honkai Impact main story. We're going to get more Honkai Impact main story. It just might be a time skip. It might be a different cast. Maybe it's the same cast, but it's a different plot line that we're going to focus on. And I think that's what we're going to see with Genshin is this is the Teyvat chapter. And then there's going to be a chapter after Teyvat. And that's not like out of the realm of possibility when you consider we have already been to a location outside of Teyvat and Konomiya, right?
Yeah. So this live stream was obviously very short, 30 minutes. I think I think we say it's short because the previous 2 were just freaking too long.
Yeah.
True.
And they were really packed with content too.
Yeah.
So all in all, I don't know if there's anything else particularly that stood out besides characters dropping, banners, Scaramouche, Archon Quest, and then a couple events here and there. I know they had the teapot update.
Listen, complete BS. I'm excited for the teapot update, but complete BS. What is that teapot update? It's loadouts. It is a loadout, a preset, pre-save of a teapot. How in the hell, hoyoverse, do we not have artifact equipment loadouts? Please.
True. Oh my goodness.
You can do it with teapot. You have no excuse for artifact equipment loadouts.
Dude,
none.
Are people actually actively telling them this? Because I say it all the time. And a lot of content creators say all the time. But do we actually contact them and be like, yo, I think this is a problem?
I do it in the feedback.
They listen from the surveys, hopefully. And I think a lot of people actually say that in the surveys.
I do it. I wasn't aware. Like everybody had the same thing, but they were just being vocal or they're actually giving feedback. I don't know.
I feel like a good amount of us are giving feedback. And to Hoyo's credit, they listen. Their issue is it takes them a very, 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 very long time to listen.
Yeah.
A very long time.
And then by the time it gets to the person where it actually like who gets to make executive decisions, like it's already watered down so much that the initial impact just probably is not there. So
growing pains of a company. People like Genshin profited way too much and got way too much attention in the beginning that with the amount of expansion that they needed to do, people think, oh, the bigger a company gets, the more money a company gets, the easier things get. But it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
The more convoluted the process gets. Because
I don't think they were ready for it. I don't think
don't
they were
either.
ready for how big Genshin got.
I agree.
Like, judging by how they managed and how they have been managing things, as a player, I can tell that they kind of are panicking a little bit. Like, they're a little bit better now, but definitely within the first, Liya Inazuma patch time, it seems like the company was just going crazy. And I've been hearing news from, Chinese sources on, Weibo and Weixin and all that. Like, people have been concerned for hoyoverse.
Yep.
So,
you can see it with Mondstadt and Liwei's the 1.0 series was dry in content, but I think that's because they hadn't reinvested any of the money. Like it hadn't shown the money that they made just yet.
Right.
We're only just now starting to see that with Sumeru,
right.
3.0 afterwards, right? Because it takes a minute to reinvest everything. So
there's a lag. There's a lag period.
Because it's dev time anyways, right? And it takes a while.
Right. But yeah.
Like Genshin was in development for, was it 2 to 4 years? I think it was.
I have no idea.
It was something like that. So if that's the case, and it took that much just to get Mondstadt and Liyue out, that means we should be on a 2-year lag before we see the profit revenue get reinvested, right?
I mean, things are picking up now. They've been expanding like crazy. So I think things are okay now. It's just now that we look back, it was really evident during the beginning of Inazuma, where it's everyone's just kind of lagging and nobody really knew what was happening.
Yep.
I'm assuming they after they made the initial amount of money, that's when they started hiring more not hiring, but paying more attention with the budget that they had to very intricate details to make the game better, add more stuff, get more people, I guess. Yeah, it makes sense because I didn't realize until a little bit later. I was like, yo, this game is not doing well in terms of update content. Until as it started going along, I'm like, oh, okay, it's getting better and better and better. And it's finally gotten to the point where okay, y'all need to slow down. I cannot do everything right now.
Right.
Not to mention, if I'm already struggling this much, just Genshin alone, I don't know how I'm going to balance 4 Hoyoverse games.
Yeah, Starvio and Zenless, bro.
True.
Kind of scary. Very scary, actually.
My theory. I feel especially now that we've talked about, how there's an overload of things with Sumeru's release, we can definitely tell that they expanded their teams. I don't have any insider information on this, so this is just my assumptions. I feel they still have the OG teams from patch 101, 100. They're still in charge, or they're taken to other groups, but there's still the same amount of people who are making the bigger decisions. It's just everything else has been expanded employee wise, which is why we get so many quests that are world quests that are not as important, because the most important ones are still going towards the heads, and which is why we don't have more Archon quests or whatever. It just everything else kind of expands. Yeah.
Because it's not hard for them to say, hey, this is the story of the region,
right?
And you're the team who's in charge of the world quest. These are all the points of the story,
right?
This is what we're doing for our conquest. You guys deal with that. We'll deal with this. Yeah,
exactly. Same thing with character design. I feel they still have the core character design team that gets to make all of the main decisions. People can submit designs and stuff, and people work in the departments to render things, but ultimately decisions wise, that's why they still give out they still release characters so slowly. So I don't know how to feel about that.
I by the way, when we say they've expanded or there's too much content, it's specifically in terms of, we're not only talking about the battles or fights. This is encompassing entirety of the game.
Yeah.
As in their story, characters, the world building, as well as combat, obviously, and events and all that stuff. They're doing a pretty decent job, I think. Could it be better? Sure. But that's always everybody's hope and dreams that they'll get a perfect game. But yeah, I think they're doing a pretty good job. I honestly think that 5-week patch cycle is it's cool, but it's hard for at least me.
I think it's hard for content creators. It
depends. It depends on what you do. Well, like what you focus on.
If you're a Genshin only, it's amazing. I know that for a fact, right? But if you play other games or if you're working a lot, like I feel like it would be quite brutal. You know?
And it's a lot of the content creators don't do story into detail as some others, and they're more focused about builds and characters. So for them, it might be a little dry, and I completely understand why.
Right.
Yep.
Not to mention, a lot of areas in the new region are like quest locked. So you have to actually do those quests before you can even get there.
Yep.
And that's kind of difficult for a lot of other players.
What I've also realized was, I don't like using the word.
I'm gonna let y'all take over. I'm gonna use the restroom. Go ahead.
Okay. You know how like, more people have been struggling to continue playing as not content creators, but like in the casual space. I don't like to use the word casual a lot, but like I've seen so many people who are saying, hey, I stopped playing for a while.
Yeah.
But that's not because I don't like the game. It's just there's so much that when I came back, it was overwhelming. I didn't know what to do or start.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is because there's just so lengthy quests and I mean, just exploring in general, it takes a lot of time too.
Exactly. And like, I am still worried for new players that are playing Genshin because I feel like at this rate already, we're only on like the 4th region. If people are joining now, they have to go through Mondstadt, Liyue, and then go through Inazuma, and then come to Sumeru, and then they can catch up.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like, it's a lot of content. That's like hours upon hours of just basically going through stuff so that you're caught up. Yeah. And then you can actually like be as hype as everybody else when you do the Archon quest.
Yeah, that's true. Because the hype factor is like when you catch up, that's like essentially when you're part of the community.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, like, I know casual players, like, you know, they can play at their own pace. And I feel like Genshin is something that can be enjoyed as like a standalone game.
Yeah.
But as a game that's like global, online, and ongoing, like, why not join the community? So I always said, yo, I can't wait till I wish I was in the situation of a new player because I can explore everything like without stopping. Yeah.
To the point where it's released. But then, now I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, that's too much.
It is a lot.
That takes so long.
Yeah. And they don't have like the skip option too, so.
To skip dialogue. I kind of want it, but I also dread it.
Yeah, same.
I don't know, but the World Quest, do you think the World Quest will ever get voiced?
Oh my God, I wish. I actually really wish. Hello.
Hi.
Udi, do you want World Quests to be voiced?
Yes, please. For the love of every freaking thing holy, I am speaking as a content creator primarily, but even from a viewer standpoint, because I asked, I have viewers that literally wait until I would stream some World Quests, and a lot of my viewers were actually bummed out I didn't stream the R&R quest.
Same.
Because they said that like they don't play the world quest until the streamer plays through it because they get to voice out because they don't want to read, right? Which like totally understandable. And from a content creator perspective, I'm not encouraged to stream it because I'm not going to sit there in a non-voiced quest, live stream it and be like, yeah.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Oh, yeah. No, you're going to read the voice lines. And, bro, reading the entirety of the Aranara quest.
So much.
I'm sure there's creators that have done it, but like
props to them.
Like Island can vouch for me. I do so much besides streaming. There's meetings that I have to do. There's business calls. There's negotiations. I got my own family I got to help out, right? So I'm always like talking. To stream and read every single line, bro, that blows out my voice after everything else I already do.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just me either. Like for other people that have similar jobs where talking or presenting is a very similar thing, like it's tough to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like more people would actually sit down through the world quest as well, because some of them are fantastic.
They are.
Like, I don't know if y'all have done the Surumi one. I'm only like halfway through.
Oh,
but that has already been fantastic.
That's not voiced. Yeah.
Yeah, like something like that should have been voiced.
Like the song is literally there. Why can't they voice everything else?
Yeah. And some people in my chat were like, "Oh, they don't have the budget." No, you clearly do, because you're the highest grossing game in the world, and two, your limited time events that are kind of important but not as important as the world quest are voiced. So
yep.
Like, y'all can do it. They can.
I wonder if they would. I really want it. I do.
Me too.
I think it's the reason why they don't do it is because world quests inherently appeal to lore and story enthusiasts over the casual player. And if that's the case, that means the casual player is most likely spending money on characters they like. So they are going to prioritize events that showcase the character's personality
That makes sense.
over world quest that doesn't, if that makes sense.
Well, that leads to another question that I have. Why can't they have more character involvement in world quests then? Like, I don't want to keep getting attached to NPCs that I will never see ever again in my life. Like, it makes me so sad.
So that's actually a really good point. A lot of people say that, and I see a lot of creators say that repeatedly, but nobody mentions how this is a game about a traveler. And this is through the perspective of the traveler traveling through each and every single region, right? And Island probably knows where I'm going with this. I won't know Honkai spoilers, but just the premise of Honkai, you have a core cast that you follow.
Right. That makes sense. Yes.
And there is like every now and then there's like an introduction of a new character, but eventually that new character either gets sidetracked for a bit or doesn't reappear, and you only follow the core cast, right?
Right.
Whereas the traveler is this constant moving piece to new regions. So naturally, you're going to see so many different people, and that's what they want to showcase.
I mean, that's fine and all, but why doesn't the traveler talk?
There's no excuse there. They need the fact that traveler isn't voiced is honestly the most ridiculous thing, mainly because
my theory is
fantastic.
Self-insert. That's the thing. That's the problem. They want to make the traveler self-insert.
Star Rail is self-insert though, and they've already had more voice lines in the beta than the last 7 patches of Genshin Impact.
Same with Wise and Bell.
Yeah, same with Wise and
The thing with Zenless Zone Zero, I feel like, is more like they are clearly characters you can pick, but like they're very personalized already.
Right,
like
that's true.
They have personality already. Yeah. Whereas Lumine and Ether are very much just like, I am a traveler.
Maybe they're just introverts.
Okay.
That explains everything.
Listen.
I will say, all of Sumeru, though, the traveler's actually gotten a very dope personality.
Yeah.
Well, entertaining, I guess, is a word. I don't know if dope is the word, but entertaining.
I feel like they're giving them more personality now. And
in which case, voice them. Bro, I want to hear sassy Zach roasting Paimon, in the middle of a quest line. That'd be dope.
Where's Zach? All he's saying is Windblade. But yeah.
You know, it might be because Paimon is more important than the traveler. Just saying.
I mean, okay, fair. That's fine.
Very fair. Yeah.
But come on. I don't think it's extra work. Like, compared to so much they've added to the game, like just having a little more voice lines, it's not.
Yeah,
bad.
that's true. Because technically, they have done it with just the voice lines within the traveler's profile.
Yeah.
There's got to be a reason that they're not talking as much in the story then.
Well, initially, canonically, it was the traveler didn't understand nor could speak it. So ideally, Paimon was translating, but it's gotten to the point where like now the traveler's actually like voicing with the characters.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's why Ether or Lumine, maybe that's why they started talking more lately.
Perhaps. Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
maybe that's their interpretation of the situation.
They should be voiced though. Just voice the thoughts. The Starro main character have their thoughts voiced. Like,
yeah.
Well, they did that for Sumeru a little bit. Finally,
a little bit. Yeah, that was actually pretty dope. I was like, wait, what? Travel.
Is there anything else we can bring up about the live stream? That's pretty much
I feel
it,
like
right?
That's pretty much
really
it. Yeah.
expanded on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I personally, as a conclusion, I feel like we always have, as content creators and as players, we always have so much like feedback we want to give to hoyoverse, because I feel like it has the potential to actually execute these minor things that we want.
Yep.
And I just feel like it would be something minor, but it would benefit so many people. So it's like, why not do it? Like, you're gonna you kill two birds with one stone.
Maybe going back to earlier, the lag time. Maybe they are
that's
working on it.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, and then we're all gonna eat our words, and it was just a lag of waiting for that reinvestment to hit.
I really hope we do.
Same.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, technically, what we're doing right now is complaining in the perspective of a player. Technically.
100%. Yeah. And dev time is brutal. So yeah.
Let's be optimistic, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I still love the game. This is my favorite game ever. So it's like, I can complain, but it's my home.
And I can't wait to where they finally expand here in the States and we can finally have all the cool events, merch, and all that every other nation except the States typically has. Would be nice.
Yeah.
One day we'll get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Guess that's a pretty good ending point here for the podcast.
Woo!
Yeah.
Questions?
Okay, I got one.
Yeah.
Potatoes or sweet potatoes?
Oh, we're gonna go
real
there.
quick.
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes.
That's my brother. Okay, wait. All right. I had this huge debate in my Discord server, and I'm still losing till this day.
Wait, why?
Potato
What's the
lovers.
reason?
Where it's at.
Because they like potatoes better.
Don't get me wrong, potatoes are really good. I couldn't
Same.
I wouldn't want to have one or the other, but if I had to pick one, sweet potatoes are really freaking good.
I feel like there's more things you can do with potato than sweet potato.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, 100%. It's more versatile.
You take a sweet potato, wrap him in foil, throw it in the bonfire.
Mm.
Tasty.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. So yeah, here's my question. How about you guys?
Oh.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
Mm.
Nahida.
Oh.
Nahida.
It's a simple question. Pull or no pull?
Ooh,
I
okay.
think a lot of people want to, but there are quite a bit of people who are just saving for whatever
For Dea.
reason.
And I'll hate them.
Yeah. So let me know. Are you guys gonna pull for Kusanali or not? Personally, I will, and I'm gonna spend everything that I've saved up to this point. I think I calculated around 500 pulls.
No way.
No way. Wait, for real?
Dude, no shot. That's
do the math.
actually so much.
Let me do the math.
Dude,
Yeah,
no
do the
way.
math, because that's a lot.
That just reminded me. One of my friends has like 800 pulls saved for Scaramouche.
No way.
Watch him not
Whoa.
even.
Sorry,
Oh,
it's not.
Anyways.
It's not 500 pull. That was over. That was way too much over.
Uh-huh.
I
But
figured.
it's still a lot. I'm probably gonna pull like 300 times.
That's still a lot.
Are you trying to C6 her?
No, I don't think it's possible. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's probably impossible. But
Yeah, it's...
would you open your wallet for her?
No. Well,
Okay.
maybe only a little bit because
What about her weapon?
That's the thing. My goal right now is to at least get her C1 and then have a weapon. But that's so scary. But I think I have to. We'll see how that goes. Whenever that releases, I will be pulling. Little self-promotion here, so stop by when I pull. But yeah, let me know if you guys are gonna pull or not. And if you're not, who else are you gonna pull for? Are you guys, Feng, you guys both pulling for Nahida? at least.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
Yes.
she's gonna change the landscape for Genshin a lot, and it's my favorite element gameplay wise at the moment. So yeah, and I need every tool in my arsenal for Alhaitham release.
You're just stacking it up. That's your
Oh,
whole
dude,
plan.
100%. Yep. Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, for question, who's going to Anime NYC? That's my question for you.
Hello, come to my table.
Wait, are you going?
I am tabling at the Artist Alley.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, maybe cosplaying for Hoyo, but we don't know yet.
Wait,
Got
are
it.
you
wish you
helping
luck.
or are you selling?
I am selling.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like it's only going to be art prints and maybe coloring books, maybe.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm not going to be there 100% of the time because I'm going to be walking around and in cosplay as well.
Got it.
Did you
Got it.
did you have to sign up for that like way in advance?
Yes, sir. It was
How
like
long?
back in April.
Yeah, we're kind of screwed. Island, you and me.
What?
You and me are screwed.
No.
Mainly because there's a good I don't know, but just from the lack of announcements, I'm pretty sure Honkai isn't going. So yeah.
I'm probably not gonna go.
Same,
Which is
probably
kind of a
not.
bummer.
But I will be flying that weekend, so you will see me and I will do a meetup, and hopefully me and Island can have some romance moments, and we can all catch up, and maybe reunion of the New York City crew with Feng as well. And I don't know, we'll see.
I don't
see.
mind driving up just to hang out though, because it's not that far.
Yeah,
Oh
we'll
yeah,
see.
that'd be dope.
Even if I can't go
I'll
to
buy
the
you coffee.
convention center.
There's
Or
still
food.
the Friday and Sunday passes right now, even though they're running out.
Yeah, the
Really
thing is,
fast.
I don't want to buy a regular pass.
Mhm.
That's the problem. Nothing
it's the
against
line,
it,
dude.
Yeah, I don't have patience for it personally.
Right.
Mm.
That makes sense.
That line went like all the way around the building.
Oh
and
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I waited outside for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
In like Ningguang cosplay. Never again.
That's not a good time.
As an artist, you don't have to,
Yeah.
right? Because you're okay.
Because we
blessed.
get to
Good.
set up the table. So thank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
well.
know that if I go, I'll spend a lot of money. Maybe it's a good idea. I don't spend money, stay home, and just make more videos. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Or you and me
man.
can meet up, and we can find some secret place to where we can spend a lot of money. Like Kunikonia.
I can't
I don't know how to
spend
say
Come again?
anything.
Oh. Huh?
Sorry, I just heard you say Kinokuniya in the weirdest way again.
I don't know how to say it. So
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's it actually called?
Kinokuniya.
Kino
Kuniya.
Kuniya.
Yeah.
Kuniya.
Why'd you
know.
do that? Okay.
I want to go, but I can't get in. Technically,
Aw.
So-
Technically.
yeah. But then again, if I were to like get a sponsor or like have somebody like sponsor me to go in with like a creator pass,
Same.
there's one thing that I've realized: I love making vlogs and I love making content like that, but it does take a lot out of me to
Mhm.
be
Yes.
honest.
Mhm.
So I was just like, maybe this time I'll just chill. I'll just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
every time if I get sponsored, they're gonna ask me to do something for it, which I don't mind, but it seems more realistic that I just take this time to relax for a little bit.
And that's
Yeah. Respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know
Okay.
if you're going.
yeah.
And personally, if you see me around the city, feel free to stop me, say hi.
Come by my
I'm,
table.
I'm super chill. I'm the same way on camera as I am off camera. So
Yep.
don't worry.
Can vouch
I'm
that.
just
Yes.
waiting for UD to screw up and that thing he's spinning is flying off and hits his face.
Okay.
Bro, too talented. It won't happen.
Yeah,
It
okay.
won't happen.
Oh my goodness.
Damn,
Wow.
dude. Okay, well, thank you for watching episode 4.
Thank you for
I don't-
watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Like-
watching.
Like,
Appreciate it. Leave a
subscribe, comment, all that
Hell
good
yeah.
stuff.
Come to
Yeah.
my
Bye,
table
everybody.
at
Bye-bye.
D14.
Bye
Bye.
bye bye bye
What's
bye.
the
See you
table?
in New York.
What's the table?
D14.
D14.
Yeah.
Go throw money at Fang's art. Pretty please, it's
Okay.
fantastic. Follow on their Twitter. And Island is extremely excited for Nikita. It is his most
All right, I'm
anticipated
gonna
character.
Stop recording.
So
Bye.